Okay. 15? I can't make that many jokes. I don't get paid enough for this. Hello everyone, and welcome to another recap review. Today, I'm going over quite a doozy. Today, I'm going to be going over the BIONICLE Master Builder. This was released in 2002. The set number is 10023. The amount of parts approximately in the set is 102. And the price at time of release, and depending on retailer, was about $13. This is going to be quite a fiasco, and you're going to see a lot of different sets, all in this one package. Because as you can see here, 15 models. So I've got a lot of work to do. So let's get started. By the way, I'd just like to say, despite what I've said before, this is probably going to be the only time, or one of the few, that I will have the box of or canister of anything on screen. Because it's here and I didn't know what to represent this set with, so box. Let's get to the review. Now, starting off with the Kofo Jagga. That seems to be pronunciation. Kofo Jagga, the amount of parts used in it, 45 parts. So let's see what we have here. This guy, being the first, is not all too big. He has a stinger tail. And he's modeled after a scorpion, or fire scorpion. Now, some functions include the stinger tail, as well as a way to move the legs, so it's like he's scurrying along. The arms don't do anything, and the head kind of moves, but that's awkward. I'd like to point out, in the Borak review I mentioned that they'd switched rubber bands. In this, they go back to these old, kind of weak ones. So as far as the Kofo Jagga goes, there's not much to him. He's a very good scorpion. This looks like a great scorpion. The arms don't do anything. The color scheme is consistent. You'll see all of them as being red, orange, and gray. Some cons are definitely the head. The head is very awkward. I don't like the construction of the head. But other than that, it's really cool. Let's move on to the next. Alright, next up we have Taku. The amount of parts used in its construction is just 29. As far as Taku goes, it's really, really small. Not much larger than like a Fiku, really. Functions include the wings and really just the feet, which kind of go up and down just a little bit. It's supposed to be up. Well, that's a con. Functions are supposed to include, well, I already went over functions, but it's supposed to be small bird. That's about it. Not much to it. Consistent color scheme along with the others. Cons are the feet. Pros are the wings and its looks. Let's move on to the next. Next up we have another small one, the Hoto. 40-piece construction. This guy is also incredibly small. Supposed to resemble some sort of beetle. I like what they did with the shell. The shell looks really nice, and well, they gave him some nice unposable legs. A con would be this wobbly little thing here, which I guess is his snout or whatever he uses to eat and drink. These are also very weird. They look like antennae, but I don't know, they look kind of odd. It's a really good beetle. Not much else to say. Fits in the palm of your hand. So, let's move on to the next. Next up, we have the Rookie at 36-piece construction. Another small one. And there's another con. Of course, come on, get the little fin back on. Basically, it's supposed to be just small fish. The construction is actually kind of gappy. The fins fall off occasionally. Very, very solid color scheme. Just gray and silver. A little bit of orange, which is nice for color. The function, you press down and it'll open its mouth. Like a little fish would. So, not much else to say. Little fish, gappy construction. Move on. Next up we have the Fiku at only 13 pieces, meaning it has the least amount of parts used in its construction throughout this entire thing. Now, I would like to say that I am aware that the Fiku did come out separately in its own like little exclusive thingamabob. Actually twice, once in 2002 and once in 2003. But it also came out here as its own constructing thing. It was first seen as a combination between Pohatu and Onua in 2001. But I got its own little thing. Functions include moving head. It's just a spider. It does that job very nicely, and it's an all orange. It's really neat. Cool to have around. Not much else to say. Let's move on to the next. And now we have the shore turtle at 22 pieces. Another name you'll hear is Hoi, H-O-I, and that was the name it had for the Maori language incident. So yeah, here we have another small one. This is a turtle, and this is really cool if you like just turtles. The mask, using it as a shell, is actually really neat. A con is the tail here is connected to the legs, so it's kind of awkward. You can't really sit. But these two legs, they move fine, so that's really neat. It's just a really cool little turtle. His head doesn't have any eyes, though. It's kind of weird. But in order to make sure that he like retracts into a shell, decapitate him. About all. Just really neat. Moving on. Next up, we have the Kiwa at 62 pieces. This one's a little bit larger than the others, and supposed to be a bird, most commonly seen in the Mat Nui Online game. Some cool pros is that it has kind of these leg things, and a function. This is supposed to be, well, not a cat, and there's another con. Supposed to be wing flapping, but it kind of just looks weird. I guess you can speed it up and it'll look like it, but I don't know. So, cool function. Color scheme's consistent except for the blatantly red beak and the otherwise orange and gray construction. Not much else to say. It's really neat. Let's move on. Next up we have the Husai, or Husi, or however you pronounce it, with 31 pieces. If you like ostriches, this is the set for you. Pros include the use of actually pretty good looking legs and a function. You turn this, his neck will move up and down. Some cons include some balancing issues. You have to get it just right to get it to stand. And these are kind of odd, just being there in gray. That's about it. Really cool. It's a great looking ostrich. Let's move on. And now we have the Usul Crab at 31 pieces. The ever popular companion from the Mat Nui Online Game 1. This guy is a lot different in the game than he is right here. First of all, he will not be able to fit a Matoran, or Tahunga, or Mictoran, whatever you call it, unless you modify the Matoran or the crab. The function is this, but it kind of works a little haphazardly. The eyes are cool, the construction's neat, has a fairly consistent color scheme. It's a really cool crab. If you like crabs and you like Usul crabs and just like Puku, this one's a combination for you. Let's move on. And now we have the Kuna / bog snake. Bog snake is what it goes by now, and Kuna was its original name until the Maori conflict. The piece count is 46, which is kind of surprising because it's not that big. Some pros, it has a function. The head goes out to here, so that's kind of cool. Turn this lever, it does that. Cons is that its body is very stiff. This does not move at all. This does. It just looks very awkward. But as a snake, you know, it's kind of neat. This weird random orange piece here is not, however. That's about it. Let's move on. And now we have the Vaako at 54 pieces. I don't understand this thing. The legs are really weirdly attached. The short back legs are really short. This thing makes no sense to me. I like the head. I like this armor. Open pins are annoying. And this is kind of... yeah. I just don't really understand it. It's kind of awkward. I don't really know what it's supposed to be other than a rhino, maybe. this handlebar is a handlebar. It doesn't really make much sense. It just looks very awkward and unusual. And this is kind of a color scheme breaker. So, I don't know. Maybe some people like it, but it's kind of weird to me. Moving on. And now we have the Makita at 53 pieces. Also not a very large one. It's kind of supposed to be frog-like. Some pros has arms. It can stand properly. And the function, now I don't know if I built this right or not, but it only really does that. So, if I built it wrong, let me know, but that's the function here. Color scheme is pretty consistent, so that's about it. Just moving on. And now we come to the Khaki at 73 pieces. The poster boy for this set. This one's an odd one. It has a bunch of loose pins and open pins and this thing. I'm not even sure what it's supposed to represent. It also has a lot of balancing issues. The function is when you turn this, the body is supposed to come up. And it's just really weird and kind of disorganized. And in the end, you come up with this dragon thing. And it looks very haphazard. But, you know, there it is. Let's move on. And we are closing in on the finish of the list with the Takeya Shark with 48 pieces. This guy's actually kind of cool. It's supposed to be a shark, and it does the job well. Function, push forward on the dorsal fin, and the jaw will open. The construction is a little bit gappy, but it gets the point across. It's a big shark, and it's really cool. So, you know, function's simple. The orange is kind of weird, but other than that, I really like it. It's a really cool shark. Let's move on. And finally, wrapping up our list with the Fusa at 76 pieces, making it the one combination set model here with the most parts used. Now this one is really cool. It's supposed to be a kangaroo, as is obvious. Its head can move, the tail does not, nor do the legs. However, push down on these levers here, and he'll box like a kangaroo. I find that to be really cool, and it really does look like a kangaroo. Right here it's a little bit spindly and kind of gappy at parts, but overall it holds up nicely. There are some open pins which are very obnoxious, but you can pass it by. So yeah, that's the final combo model. I gotta figure out another name for these things. So let me go right to the recap of the review. So in the end, what do we think about this? There are 15 combination models, as said on the box, or 15 sets, and overall they all have their ups and downs. Personally, this seems more like something that one would buy either for the parts or just to expand the universe. Either way, it really works out. You can't have more than one built at a time, which is a little bit disappointing, but ah well. So many uses here, so many really cool pieces. It really is neat. But some of them are just better than others. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and next week I will be going over, finally, the Boxer. I hope to see you all then, and thank you very much for watching.